All right, here we go. We're going to start this test unit review number 10. That means we have taken 10 tests, not including the semester exam. Or you will have taken 10 tests, not including the semester exam. Anyways, you've got the idea. Let's look at this review and let's see if this will help you. Keep in mind your formula sheet that you're allowed to make. Get the stuff from the board. It will be gone by the time you take the test. Alright, so let's look at the first thing, shall we? Here are some answers you may want. So boom, there's the answer keys if you just want to work off the answer key. Pause. I'm trying to give you some time for each picture, but that's basically the pictures right there. So now let's look at the review itself. Okay, so using the formulas that we have for problems 1 and 2. No matter where I'm at, I've got to have that bell just that we find so adorable. Anyways, alright, so again, we're using the n minus 2 times 180, the n minus 2 times 180 divided by n, which means technically the answer from the first one can help, you can use to get your second one. I'll show you what I mean. And then 360 divided by n. Okay, so number 1 was a 16-sided figure, right? So on that one, I would say 16 minus 2 times 180, and you need to show me this work to get full credit. Okay, and you should get 2520. Type that in the calculator and go from there. Part B, all you gotta do, rather than rewrite the whole thing, look, you've already done the n minus 2 times 180 part. I really dislike those bells. Anyways, so you can take that answer and then just put it over there, because the n minus 2 times 180 has already been done. Okay, and again, keep in mind that if you want a decimal or if you get a fraction answer, you could retype it with a decimal to get the decimal answer, and you would get here 157.5 degrees. 5/10 to say it properly. Properly, it would have been 157 and 5/10 degrees. Anyways. And then let's see here. We can do 360 divided by 16. Since the first one, a B came out decimal, you know C is going to come out with a decimal. And you would get 22 and 5/10 degrees. Degrees. All of these are technically degrees. Okay, so we can do the same thing for number 2. Number 2, we're going to say 26 minus 2 times the 180. And we're going to get 4320. We can say 4320 for part B. 4320 divided by 26 and get 166.2 degrees. And then finally we can do part C and say 360 divided by 26 and we'll get 13.8 degrees. Oh, very, very good. Now we are done. Okay, so let's move on to 3 and 4. 3 and 4, the idea here is that you're saying 180 minus some number, whatever answer you get, you divide that into 360, and then that's your how many sides. So like on number 3, I can say 180 minus 165, get an answer of 15, divide that answer into 360, and you would get 24. So this figure has 24 sides. Number 4, we could do the same thing, 180 minus 140, and then divide that, we get 40, and divide that answer into 360, and we get 9. So that figure has 9 sides. There you go. That's all that is for that one. Simple, right? Okay, so for 5 and 6, we need to remember that all quadrilaterals add up to 360 degrees. So if we add up the 2x minus 15 plus the x plus another 2x minus 15 plus the x, we get 6x minus 30 equals 360. Okay, because you added up all the interior angles and they added up to 360. Okay, so if you solve for x there, you're going to get, say, 65. But you got to remember, you still got to put it back in for the angles. So that would tell you that, say, the 2x plus, so you have, where they just said x, 65 degrees. You can see this on the pictures. and then 2x minus 15 ends up being 115. So you had to go back and plug in the numbers. On number 6, same thing. We're going to say 2x plus 5 plus x plus 2x plus 7 plus another x gives me 6x plus 12. Set that equal to 360. When we solve for x, we'll end up with 58 because you're going to subtract 12 and then divide by 6. So that means for every x, it's going to be 58 degrees. So in this drawing, we have 58 degrees, 58 degrees, and then you say 2 times 58 plus 5 gives you 121, and 2 times 58 plus 7 gives you 123. That's really about it, but you got to make sure you plug them in. Okay, so some things you got to remember, like on quadrilateral, you got to know your, say, parallelogram properties. So that way, like on number 7, you can say 180 minus 55 because it's supplementary and get 125 degrees. Number 8, opposite sides are parallel, so 8 is 8. Number 9, opposite sides are congruent, or I'm sorry, diagonals are congruent. They're broken up into congruent segments. They bisect each other. So you can say something like this, and again, variables to the left, numbers to the right. A lot of times when y'all say numbers to the right, y'all say something like this, you'll just say that's 6. You better make sure you're careful. And then you can divide. Gives you x equal to 9, but that's not it. You got to plug it back in, and you'll find out, like if you put a 9 here and a 9 here, you'll get both of them should be equal to 33. So then the whole thing, because you want the whole diagonal all the way across, is 66. That's your final answer. Okay, number 10, we can say 3x minus 4 is equal to 14. You would add 4 and then divide by 3, and you would get x is equal to 6. Because again, those are equal to each other. That's really about it for those. So now let's look at number 11. Okay, and I'm going to take a picture of that one, so just one sec. Okay, so on number 11, they're asking you like GJ, so G to J, H to K, diagonals are congruent. So for number 11, I can say 4x plus 5 is equal to 3x plus 13. X variables to the left, numbers to the right, minus 5, minus 3, and you get x, 1x is equal to 8. And that's it. But, again, the question asks for HK. So now you got to go back and put this into, like here, and say 4 times 8 is 32. 32 plus 5 is 37. So HK is equal to 37. Okay, now, there is a property that says every corner angle of a rectangle is 90 degrees. So if angle 31 is 37, I can say for number 12 that 90 minus 37 is 57 degrees. I'm sorry, 53 degrees, because apparently I forgot how to subtract. All right, so this is 53 degrees. Now, what happens here is, like this triangle and this triangle down here are congruent. So if angle 1 is 37, so is angle 4. So angle 1, angle 3, and angle 4 are all congruent. Whoops, that's not what I meant to erase. Okay, so that tells me right here, this one is congruent to angle 3 like that. Angle 2 is congruent to angle 5. So if these are equal, if angle 1 is 37, all of these are equal to 37. Angle 2 and angle 5 are equal to 53. So how would you find angle 6? Well, if you add 37 plus 37 and subtract from 180, because all triangles add up to 180, you'll get that angle 6 is equal to 106. If you were to say, okay, if this is 53 degrees right here, so is this, you could add those up and subtract from 180 to get angle 7 is equal to 74. Okay? And that's really about it. I don't know if I'm going to make y'all do it like that, but I'm just trying to make sure you understand how I could get the answer. Now, number 13, you have to remember they're asking for, oh, I didn't change the letters here. Oops, I should have changed the letters. But anyways, what I wanted to do there was set those equal to say that like 2x plus 4 plus 3x plus 1 is equal to 90. So then you end up with 5x plus 5 is equal to 90. And then you can subtract 5, divide by 5, and get x equals 17. Again, you would have to plug it back in and say for this one to get, say, the angle that I was looking for was going to be equal to 52 degrees. But I kind of forgot I gave you all the wrong letters. But that's okay. Alright, so the next one is a rhombus. We got to remember some properties of rhombi. Again, like all sides are congruent, so if one side is 8, all the sides are 8. Diagonals bisect the corner angles, so if you're saying one diagonal is 82 degrees, or one corner is 82 degrees, at the other corner is at 82 degrees, but again, notice that it cuts it in half, so that one really we wanted half of that, 41 degrees. I don't like that bell. Anyways, and on the last one, find the measurement of angle KAL. Keep in mind the central angles are going to be equal to 90 degrees. So I can say here 2x minus 8 is equal to 90. Add 8, divide by 2 to get x is equal to 49. And that's all they want on that one. On a kite, we want to make sure that we realize, again, all central angles are equal to 90 degrees. So number 17 is just 90. If you know that, like, say here, and this is so not drawn correctly, this is 90 and this is 110, how would you find these two? These two are the same. You would say add them up, add up the 90 and 110 to get 200 degrees. You would subtract that from 360 to get 160, and then you would still divide by 2. I don't know why I did it like that, because that way you're splitting them up equally to find out this is 80 degrees or this is 80 degrees. And so the answer there is 80. And then again, keep in mind these sides are congruent, these two sides are congruent. So in number 19, since this side is 7, this side is also 7. Alright. Number 20 and 21, keep in mind we want to use the formula that the middle side is equal to 1/2 the long side plus the short side. Okay, if you look on number 20, they want you to find the middle segment, MN, and they give you that the long side is 60 and the short side is 32. Okay, so if I add those and then take half, I get 46, and I am done. Number 21, they give you the middle segment, and they want you to find the short segment. I don't know why I was about to write 1/2 again. So I need to find, okay, actually I'm sorry, I need to find the long segment. And then again, when you have it like this, you multiply by 2. That gets you 56, gets rid of the fraction. And then all you'd have to do is subtract. So subtract, and you get LK is equal to 46. Okay, so again, not too difficult. Ooh, weird how those two came out to the same number. Not 46, 36. Have no idea why I wrote 46. Not even 46, 38. Oy vey, people, I'm bad today. Alright, anyways, 38. There we go. Sorry about that. Alright, so finally the last ones, the ones that take the most work. You got to remember, again, we're focusing on the diagonals. This is number 22. And we want to say, in this case, QS is a diagonal, RT is a diagonal, parentheses, parentheses, squared, minus, plus, parentheses, parentheses, squared, minus, like that, dot, 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 parentheses, parentheses, squared, minus, plus, parentheses, minus, squared, plus, and then again, we're going to do the slopes. Okay, so on this one, it would be 1 minus 1, 2 minus a negative 4, plug that into the calculator. Here we would have negative 2 minus 4 and negative 1 minus a negative 1. Okay, this one is going to end up giving you 36, which if you typed it in with the square root, you'll get 6. This one's also going to give you a 36. If you typed it in with the square root, 6. So it is congruent, which means it is a rectangle. Okay, you type in, like, do the slopes, 1, negative 1, 1 minus 1, Here you'll get 60 or undefined if you typed it into the calculator. Okay, here I've got negative 1, negative 1 minus negative 1, and negative 2 minus 4, and that gives me 0, 6, or a 0 slope. And again, 0 and undefined slopes are perpendicular, so this one is perpendicular, which would make it a rhombus. And since it's both, it's a square. So this one is a rectangle, rhombus, and a square, all three. Number 23, last one right here, same idea. Okay, so here's the setup for 23. If you type this one in, you get it square root of 40, which is going to be like 6 point something. Here, if you type this one in, 32, you got like here you get 6 point something. Here you get 5 point something, so it's not congruent. So it's not a rectangle. And then when you type this one in here, you get 1/3, and this one gives you a negative 1. If you were to type those into the calculator, that's what you get. So they're not perpendicular. So since they're not rhombus, so it's not a rectangle, it's not a rhombus, so it can't be a square. So this one is none of the above or neither. None. How about just none? All right. So I'm going to go ahead and stop there, and that covers everything. I will try to make sure I shorten this up to where y'all should be able to finish in class time. But that's it for today. Thank you so much for your time. Y'all take care.